Well, guys, I didn't think I would be starting the year of 2025 out with a movie review, but don't worry, it will be, let's just say, I won't be spoiling the ending for you guys. And I don't know if you guys are into vampire movies or not, but this right here to me was kind of a breath of fresh air compared to other films and let's just say other forms of media involving the character of Dracula or bloodsuckers. Either way, though, I want to talk about this to start the year. And of course, before we dive into this, there will be some updates towards the end. So make sure you guys stick around for the full beat. And also to go on top of that, make sure you guys please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video if you guys are new here. And of course, the updates video that is posted for New Year's Day is going to be in the comment section of this video here, as well as the link to my second channel, Gearshy33, about to be renamed the Crusty Old Vet. And with that right there out of the way, let's talk about Nosferatu. Okay, now this movie is directed by Robert Eggers. He's the same guy who did the movie The Lighthouse, and you're probably thinking it's probably a bit of a weird flick. Well, my response to that would be, well, yeah, but it's actually pretty good. I normally don't go for dark horror films, especially in the vampire ethos, but still at the same time, it's pretty good. It's basically a remake of the 1922 Nosferatu, which of course I've been providing some of that stuff here in the B-roll footage for you guys to see because obviously I've got to put the trailer to Nosferatu in the B-roll footage, but I've got to put it in a bit of a box and I got to minimize the segments because of course Universal's a bit of a pain in the ass when it comes to topic of copyright. And it was a Christmas Day release, and I got to tell you guys right now, it's pretty much worth the hype. Whatever you guys have been seeing online, now I'm not telling you guys that you got to go to the movie theater and watch the movie right now or anything like that. I mean, you got time to do so in 2025, but of course it'll be out on Amazon Prime or Pluto or whatever streaming service you might go to watch movies, but it is pretty good. Like I said, this video right here is not designed to spoil it or spoil the ending, but of course it's a dark film. It's got a dark aesthetic. It's got the old-timey aesthetic, and also to go on top of that, if I said it already, I'll probably going to say it again over the course of this video, the jump scares in the movie itself actually work. It's not like I was scared or anything, but I was definitely taken aback and kind of put off a little bit because it's kind of fun to do from time to time, especially in a movie theater, especially a dark one, when you have an actual dark film up on the screen and they actually give you a good solid jump scare. I'm just simply saying that it actually works in this movie. It's one of the reasons why it is I advise you guys go check it out. Something else too, Bill Skarsgård plays the role of Dracula, who's more like an actual monster. Think maybe like something like, say, Salem's Lot, but bigger and meaner and more aggressive. It's actually convincing. It's actually a pretty good movie, and I'll probably bring up Willem Dafoe here in a little bit, but his performance, of course, you might think Van Helsing, Anthony Hopkins, the character that he had played in the movie Bram Stoker's Dracula, well, not exactly the same, but in a lot of ways better. But then again, though, if it's Willem Dafoe, every performance he turns out ends up being pretty good, even if they are creepy. Now, real quick, as far as the plot is concerned, it's pretty much a remake of the 1922 film. It pretty much is. The thing is that when I went into the movie theater and saw it, I immediately I got about 30 minutes into it, and I immediately thought to myself, this right here is Bram Stoker's Dracula, except it's actually a better version of it. And you're probably seeing some stuff here in the B-roll footage that includes some scenes, some cuts from Bram Stoker's Dracula. That film has always been somewhat maligned, somewhat hit or miss to people. And I always said, I say all the time, whenever you bring up that particular movie, people oftentimes don't bring it up that often because I'm guessing that they were expecting back in 1992 an actual Dracula film that was in fact scary. Not something like, say, we would get today like True Blood or Buffy the Vampire Slayer or Dracula Dead and Loving It starring Leslie Nielsen. The point is this right here. This right here is almost like taking Bram Stoker's Dracula and then going back to, well, really in a lot of ways, Nosferatu is actually a knockoff of that story there, but it's a much, much better version of it. The cinematography is good. It's a dark aesthetic. Dracula is actually believable. Instead of looking like Dracula, which you would normally see like in cartoons or old stories or whatnot, he looks like an actual menacing monster. And if I didn't say it already, Willem Dafoe is in this, and it obviously adds a little bit extra to it. Now, I'm not going to go that far into the plot because I don't want to give away too much of the story, but the performances were pretty good. It hinges basically around the girl named Ellen in the story, and of course she's kind of like possessed by Dracula to be like his lover. And of course it gets, you get to the end of the film, you'll obviously understand exactly where they were going with. The plot is not exactly too hard to figure out. But of course, like I said before, it's a movie that for the most part relies on the overall aesthetics of the film, the dark, the moodiness, the broodingness about it. And of course, it's a pretty good movie. And like I said, I don't want to spoil it for you guys. This right here is one of the very, very few movie reviews that I do. And I did say I was going to do more of these. And trust me, I will eventually get better at these. But this movie right here, compared to other movies talking about the vampire medium, felt like a bit of a fresh air compared to others. You also had the guy from Chernobyl in this who also played in the first Omen, which is the remake or the prequel to the original Omen of 1976. You'll probably hear me bring it up a little bit later on, but when I went to go see that particular film, I couldn't help but think to myself, this is actually pretty good. This is actually not bad at all. I thought that they would take this particular product, this particular piece of media, and I thought they would screw it up, but no, they actually did not. They actually put together a pretty good piece of media here, which is pretty much what they did for Nosferatu here as well. The fact of the matter is that there's a reason why it is that this movie has got so much hype on it. I would go give it a shot. I'd go check it out if you want to go to the movie theater and go see it before it gets on Amazon here in the next few months, or you could wait for that then. Either way, though, mark the particular film off as something to go see, because it is, in fact, actually a good movie and it is definitely worth the hype. Now, real quick, there's something else, too, that I'm going to be talking about over the course of this video, which is going to be one of my shorter videos, and that, of course, is what to expect in 2025 as far as entertainment is concerned, because let's just say that a certain article or a couple of articles will be linked in the comment section and the description box of this video here that kind of explain the fact that we're going to be dealing with a lot of projects that are going to be, how do I say, that were, say, greenlit back in 2021, 2022, back when Hollywood was really and truly trying to push the whole woke message on us. I'm just simply saying that there are more films to come out that are of that nature. So take Nosferatu as a, let's just say, a good movie before you start seeing a bunch of other sludge. And this right here also includes gaming, but don't worry, that right there will be covered here in the future. And also to go on top of that, the Superman trailer that came out over Christmas and the story behind that is definitely going to be a video probably this week or weekend. So make sure you guys stick around for that, because I have a pretty bad feeling of what's about to come out with that. But getting back on the topic of Nosferatu, the reason why this movie is being heralded as so much of a success so far outside of the normal hype that's getting is because the vampire trope for the most part in Hollywood has been, let's just say, watered down. Okay, so let's go through this really quick, all right? Because this right here is where Nosferatu is such a contrast from the others. By the way, it is a remake of the 1922 picture, the silent film, which of course some of the stuff here in the B-roll footage you guys are seeing is from that there as well. And like I said before, I immediately thought Bram Stoker's Dracula 30 minutes into it, which I'll do a bit of a comparison there towards the very end. So sit tight. The thing is this right here. The vampire trope, Dracula, vampires are supposed to be scary. They're supposed to be dark. They're supposed to be menacing, which of course is what our Dracula is in this one here. As a matter of fact, his name is Count Orlok in this film. And of course, the main character, Thomas, I don't want to go too much into the plot, it starts out a lot like Bram Stoker's Dracula. He's going to Transylvania to sell this guy a piece of property. It starts out a lot like it, but unlike Bram Stoker's Dracula, this film right here actually kept things where it needed to be kept instead of going off in a million different directions with different characters and style and everything. But I'm not going to get too much into that. But still, not right now in this segment, but still, the point is there. The character of Dracula, vampires are supposed to be scary. They're supposed to actually be intimidating. They're supposed to be actually fearsome. Think Salem's Lot. While definitely cheesy in that film there, our vampire was, for the most part, actually scary. They're supposed to be like that. We're not seeing scary vampires. We have not seen them in years. Francis Ford Coppola's attempt at Bram Stoker's, which we'll get to here in a second, was a step in the right direction, but if I haven't already said it, it was a movie that, quite frankly, was hit or miss. It's a hit or miss for a reason, mostly probably because the audience at the time was not ready for it. You could even argue that it was ahead of its time. I mean, it did win 3 Academy Awards, even though the movie itself really wasn't that good, in my opinion. But then again, though, a lot of films win Academy Awards that really aren't good. Not every Academy Award winner is going to be as good as Titanic. I know. That's definitely something we'll be talking about when I start doing movie reviews and the point of the actual story here in the future. And maybe even, I'm not going to get too far off topic, but let me get back on topic. The point is this right here. We've been getting fed a steady diet of Twilight, True Blood, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. The vampire genre itself, for the most part, has been dead. Also, the overt use of CGI in films has made this practically a nightmare and almost unbearable to watch. I can recall back in 2011, I think it was, that I went to go see the updated version of the film The Thing, which of course was a prequel of the 1982 film The Thing, starring Kurt Russell, John Carpenter film, possibly my favorite horror movie ever. And let's be honest, The Thing is not exactly a scary movie, but it's still a very good movie. Basically, it's the whole. I may do that another day, but still, the point is this right here. The Thing was a classic, and of course, it was a remake of another movie called The Thing from Another World. The point is this right here. Practical effects always work better than CGI, and of course, in the film The Thing, the updated version, CGI was all over the place, and it made the film almost unbearable to watch. You don't really have to deal with that in this film because the aesthetic itself is so dark and the cinematography is so dark, but still, though, in the case of Nosferatu versus other vampire films, it's exactly what I said before. It's a breath of fresh air compared to what we've been getting from Hollywood over the past 20 to 30 years. Which brings me to Bram Stoker's Dracula. Now, I don't know if I said it or not, but while I was watching this movie about 30 minutes into it, I was thinking this is a lot like Bram Stoker's Dracula, but it's definitely a much, much better version of Bram Stoker's Dracula. I mean, Keanu Reeves gets a lot of crap because of his acting performance in that film, but I went back and rewatched that movie before I started talking about this, and I'm like, now I see why it was that people did not like that movie back in 1992. You could argue that was ahead of its time. I don't think that was the case. I think the movie was just, quite frankly, confusing. And I thought that that's what they were going to do with Willem Dafoe's character, basically turn him into another Van Helsing, but they didn't really do that. And if they tried to turn him into a Van Helsing type, he was a little bit more convincing. But then again, though, Willem Dafoe, for the most part, does very, very well in every role that he plays. It's a shame the man went so long without getting actual roles. If you don't know about Willem Dafoe's career, let me just go ahead and kind of tell you. He was in some very, very big films, like, say, Platoon, for example. And, of course, he was also, let's just say, I put it this way here. He was in some films that you might not have actually heard of. Movies like, say, Flight of the Intruder. He kind of got his name there. And then, of course, he went away for a while. And then eventually he got the role as the Green Goblin in Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man movie that was made with Tobey Maguire. Not the 1980s crap that they tried to make that never launched. But still, though, what we tend to believe the original Spider-Man film, the one that came out in 2002. Fact of the matter is, everything that Willem Dafoe plays in is pretty good. There's also Ralph Ineson, who plays a doctor in this movie. It also works as well. Seriously, go check out Nosferatu. It actually works. But like I said before, this is kind of a breath of fresh air compared to what we have been getting, and it is definitely worth the hype. But there is one more thing that I do want to say to you guys before I close this video out and give you guys like an additional update or two. I mentioned this, I touched on it earlier, but there were a lot of projects that were greenlit in 2020, 2021, 2022, and even 2023 by Hollywood that they thought was going to be popular in the future. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot more movies out there coming out, and not just movies, but games and stuff in TV that we're going to be talking about a lot because I'll put it this way here. Typically, when the shoe is on the other foot, they try to cram their crap down our throats much, much harder. Talking about the left and talking about the woke, the social justice warrior types, the ones that want to get political. I'm just simply saying that given the fact that they're now on the losing side, yeah, this type of crap's not going to be going away. So we're going to be talking a lot about entertainment, how it shapes people's minds in the future, and also sports as well, which of course will be the focal point going the weekend because we got to talk about ESPN's Ryan Clark, Stephen A. Smith, and Shannon Sharp problem. So we'll be talking about that here soon. But there is one more thing that I want to leave you guys with before we end the video. And that right there is to simply say to you guys, have a happy new year. I'm making this video on December the 31st. I'm going to go out for a little bit. I'm going to come back home. Make sure you guys stay safe. Please don't drink and drive. I hope you guys had a great Christmas holiday season. I hope you guys were happy throughout the entire time. Bit of a break, Christmas vacation. I always do this every single year. Please have fun, be safe, have a happy new year. We will be back to work on New Year's Day. I have a video coming out on the OF problem, and of course also the videos that I have scheduled on entertainment, and of course also my impressions on what to expect with Superman, because obviously this type of crap, this garbage that we've been dealing with for the past, I would say, better part of 7 years, it's been ruining our entertainment, is going to be coming back up here in the near future. Still, though, make sure you guys please hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys have got to say, and I'll see you guys later. Nosferatu is basically a movie in this case that works, whereas a film like, say, Bram Stoker's Dracula did not work. And I think the reason why that's the case is because the audience nowadays has a better understanding of what they're actually seeing as far as film is concerned. I mean, let me say this really quick, and I want to be very brief before I close this video down. A lot of the stuff that you're seeing in Hollywood as far as wokeness, the message, the politics, stuff like that, there, a lot of people would not have been able to, or basic viewers would not have been able to pick up some of the underlying subtleties. I think that the audience has gotten smarter over the years, and I think that they can actually pick up on it and they can actually see it. I'm not saying this film is woke or anything. Trust me, it is not. Like I said, it's a breath of fresh air. It's the reason why I keep on saying that it is for a reason. But I think that the audience would be as better. I put it this way here. I think the audience is better equipped. They would have a better understanding of a film like, say, Nosferatu, whereas in 1992 they probably would not have had much of an understanding for something like, say, Bram Stoker's Dracula. And also, to go on top of that, Ralph Ineson is in this film as well, and that also always helps. Let me get back on point.